YouTube. How we doing, family? It's your boy, Yo! And this is another episode of Yo Hoops. I go through every NBA game every day. Today's Tuesday, December 2nd, and we have a 6-game NBA card. I'm going to walk you through my thoughts, let you know what sides I like, and stick around, because I have 2 highlighted plays for today. I do this every day for free, so please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and let me know your favorite game in the comment section below. Without further ado, let me get into today's recap. Recapping yesterday, I dropped both of my highlighted plays. First, I took Cade Cunningham of the Detroit Pistons to go over 27.5 points. I can't be too mad considering how many times he's cashed for us, but at the same time, I was a little surprised he wasn't taking as many shots. We're used to seeing around 25 shots a game. Last night, he shot a modest 7 for 15. He scored 18 points, and the Pistons won it by 1. Next, I took the Chicago Bulls and Orlando Magic under 239.5. At halftime, I thought there was literally no way this game goes over. The score was tied 53 to 53. They proceeded to score 139 points in the second half, 75 in the fourth quarter alone. That's one of the highest scoring periods we've seen this year. Final score was 125 to 120 Magic. Shitty way to start the month 0-2, but let's get right back in that win column tonight. Without further ado, let me get into today's games. In our first matchup, we have the Washington Wizards in Philadelphia taking on the Philadelphia 76ers. Sixers are minus 800 on the money line, and the total is 234. The Wizards come into this one on the second leg of a back-to-back, flying from DC to Philadelphia. Got that outright win last night against the Bucks with Giannis playing. Team morale should be high coming into this one. I get that the Wizards are ass 6-13 against the spread on the season, but 13 points is a lot to lay with the Sixers being this banged up. Embiid and Oubre are still out while Drummond is listed as questionable. Maxey could go off for 40 and carry them, but I see this as more of an 11-point Philly win. I'll lean to the Wizards plus the 13 as my first selection of the evening. In our next matchup, we have the Portland Trailblazers in Toronto taking on the Toronto Raptors. Raptors are minus 220 on the money line, and the total is 230. This is a really tough game for me. I like the Blazers, but I like them more at home, and while I think the Raptors win this game, I'd have them as something like 3.5-point favorites. Shadon Sharp is back in the lineup for Portland, so they're really only missing Drew Holiday, and RJ Barrett is now out for the Raptors. I see this being a competitive bout, but rather than taking a side, I'm looking at a prop. We've seen his shot attempts go way up over their last 10 games. I'm talking about Jeremy Grant. His points prop is set at 18.5, which I do think he hits, but I'm personally pushing it down to 17.5 for around minus 130 odds. He's cashed it in 4 of their last 5 games, and he's getting up 18 shots a night, so he has the potential to soar over. I'm taking Jeremy Grant to go over 17.5 points as my next selection of the evening. In our next matchup, we have the Memphis Grizzlies in San Antonio taking on the San Antonio Spurs. Spurs are minus 200 on the money line, and the total is 232.5. This is another evenly matched game. Of course, with Wemby on the floor, the Spurs would clearly be the better team, but with him and Stephon Castle out, it's not as clear cut. The 2 things that stand out to me in this one are 1, the Spurs are the more experienced team, so they should have more success closing it out down the stretch, and 2, the Grizzlies typically play their best basketball at home. They're just 5-6 against the spread on the road, while the Spurs are currently 6-3 against the spread in San Antonio. They've handled business at home. I think they win this one by 5. I'm taking the Spurs laying the 5 as my next selection of the evening. In our next matchup, we have the Minnesota Timberwolves in New Orleans taking on the New Orleans Pelicans. Wolves are minus 510 on the money line, and the total is 234.5. The Pelicans are still without Jordan Poole and Herb Jones, but Trey Murphy has been upgraded to questionable. I'm not in love with this game in general, but if Trey plays, I can see a scenario where the Pels keep this one competitive. Zion's back in the lineup, and I like what I've seen from guys like Derek Queen and Sadiq Bey. I definitely think the Wolves win it, but something tells me to grab the points. I'm going to lean to the Pelicans plus the 10.5 as my next selection of the evening. In our next matchup, we have the New York Knicks in Boston taking on the Boston Celtics. Knicks are minus 115 on the money line, and the total is 232. Looking at both injury reports, I genuinely think Boston is undervalued here. Besides Jason Tatum, they come into it at full strength, while the Knicks are still without Landry Shamet and OG Anunoby. Boston has the number 1 interior defense in the league this season, so the only thing we really have to worry about is Jalen Brunson on the perimeter. He's an assassin, don't get me wrong, but Boston has a plethora plethora of shooters. Peyton Pritchard, Anthony Simons, Derek White's probable. He will go. Jaylen Brown. I think it's too much for the Knicks. We're in Boston and you're giving us plus money. Lock it in. I'm taking the Celtics on the money line. You can find it for even money as my first highlighted selection of the evening. In our last and final matchup, we have the Oklahoma City Thunder in Golden State taking on the Golden State Warriors. Thunder minus 600 on the money line, and the total is 222.5. I know OKC hasn't been covering the big numbers recently, but 12 points is low-key a steal tonight. The Warriors' injury report is extremely concerning. Steph Curry and Al Horford are both ruled out, while Jimmy Butler and Trace Jackson Davis are both listed as questionable. The Thunder are slightly banged up themselves, no Lou Dort or Hartenstein, but they've been playing through injury all season, so with J-Dub and Aaron Wiggins playing, I actually think they got better. We know Steph is the engine of this team, and even if Jimmy goes, he's playing through a contusion in his left hip. We should finally see that 20-point blowout from OKC. I'm taking the Thunder laying the 12 as my second highlighted selection of the evening. And that's going to conclude today's video. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. 0-2 to start December, so I really have my work cut out for me. I'll have the recap video for November up tomorrow, so you guys can see my record this far into the season, but let's knock it out the park tonight. I appreciate the support so much. I do this every day for free, so please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It's your boy, Yo! And until the next one, I'ma catch y'all. Peace.